In a surprise turn of events, Chelsea have sacked manager Mauricio Pochettino. In this video, we discuss whether it was deserved and whether Chelsea's season was a success or not. We also analyse the current manager market and debate who should take over as Chelsea manager next season. This is why Chelsea sacked Mauricio Pochettino and who should replace him. Alright, let's talk about Pochettino and Chelsea's decision to sack him. First and foremost, did Pochettino deserve to get sacked?
Absolutely not. And I mean, this is another representation of brainless thinking and brainless decision making from the higher ups at Chelsea. We've seen it before numerous of times. We thought they might have learnt their lesson. They were Bowley and the lot. They were patient with Poch when it was going wrong, and then we waited until it was going right to sack him. It's really stupid. It makes no sense. Poch did not deserve this. He recovered. Yeah, okay. I wasn't his biggest fan to start with. He was, Tottenham guy coming in, started slow, really poor start to the season, but over the season, worked out what was going to work at Chelsea, got it right, made brilliant progress up the table, finished really well, had a really strong campaign, and what have we rewarded with him? A trip to the job centre.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Now, I believe Pochettino was pushing for a bit more control over transfers, but for me, I don't know why you wouldn't let your manager be involved in that discussion somehow. You wouldn't expect them to do the transfer themselves. You would expect that to be the recruitment department, but you would hope your manager has a say in that. So I do find that really bizarre. I think a lot of the decision making that Clearlake Capital have come in and done has been really odd. I still think the decision to sack Potter when they did was a really strange one. He deserved to the end of the season at least, because if not, what was the point?
Yeah.
We wasted 3 months there. So that was an odd one in the first place. But this one is even weirder because Chelsea expectations seem to be too high. I don't know what they expect. We weren't going to get Champions League this season. I know we're 6 points off, but that's because we started slow. We started slow because we changed our manager. So what have we done again? We've changed our manager again, which is going to take time to bed in. And the idea that some young coach is going to come in and win the league playing really attractive, wonderful football is way too idealistic. It's not going to happen. So I feel like the owners live in this fantastical world where if they throw enough money at something, it's going to work. It isn't. Football takes time, dedication, and forethought and planning. It's just not going to happen overnight by sacking a manager. And I think Pochettino done so well this season to take Chelsea from 12th to 6th. I mean, we're going to talk about options to replace him at the end of this, but I think that a lot of people would be saying what Chelsea need right now is a guy that can get him into Champions League football, someone who's got Premier League experience, someone who knows some of the players. Well, Poch fits all the categories, so it's a bit of a weird one. Let's talk about Chelsea's season though, and judge whether it's been a success. I think that's the best way to measure Chelsea's achievements this season and whether Pochettino deserves to stay. So a 52% win percentage, as you can see on screen now, 26 wins in there, 10 draws, 14 losses. Quite a strong season, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a really, really good campaign from Chelsea. And yeah, 52 wins maybe doesn't seem that great. But, I think if you're saying everything that's happened over the year, how slow Chelsea were to get going this season and to recover from last year. If you told me at the end, before the start of the season, we'd be ending the season with a 52% win rate, I'd have taken that. I'd have bit your ear off.
Yeah, I think a really strong indication of Chelsea's success this season is the fact that they've played 50 matches despite not being in European competition. So that obviously indicates the cup success, and it has been really good in the cups this year. Carabao Cup final, yes, it was disappointing to not win that, but still a really positive sign just to get there. FA Cup semi-final, that was really strong as well. Again, shame we lost to City, but ultimately City are a level ahead of us right now, and I don't think it's bad to admit that. I think you could argue the same in Liverpool, but on the day, obviously, they had a very weakened squad, so we really should have won that. But FA Cup semis, I don't have too many qualms about that. Qualification for next year's Europa League is exactly what I would have wanted. Champions League would be a waste of time. Our squad is not there yet, but Europa League, it gives us a chance to bed in with our manager who's done really well for a year. Instead, we've got rid of him. So a bit of a weird one. Let's talk the positives and negatives, though, of Pochettino's sacking, or his reign, I think, would fit better. What has Poch done positively recently?
Yeah, I mean, he's done... I think the positives all come in terms of a recovery job. He came in to a club that were in turmoil after last campaign, and yeah, okay, it was bad to start with. He took time, but we saw that adaptation of his tactic, where we saw Cucurella inverting, and he mixed it up a bit. And then we got wins, and then what do wins do? Wins bring confidence, and then momentum, and morale, boost, and then That's the thing. When you, as a football club, as a manager, you get one thing right, and then it's like a domino effect for the rest. Got the tactics right, start winning games, momentum builds, morale builds, and then suddenly you've got a very happy dressing room that are winning games, flying up the league, rolling teams over like Chelsea were, and all round a really, really strong campaign was built on that, and we've ended. Well, we did end on a high until Tuesday evening.
Yeah, well, you look at that form then recently, the last 10 games, 5 wins on a bounce. They won every single game in May. Of course, the 5-0 loss to Arsenal was in there, and I'm sure that'll be something the owners took into consideration because that was an embarrassing one. But for me, I can get over that as a Chelsea fan. I find it bizarre that we decided to let him go. I think he did a really good job. My biggest fear with Poch and the biggest negative was I think there was a bit of a fear that he wasn't tactically astute enough to coach at an elite level in the modern game. But my fears were cast aside at the end of the season when we started to see some really nice stuff. We saw, as you say, Cucurella inverting. We started to see wins because there was a tactical adjustment, tactical shift. For me, that was a really positive sign. That was one of my biggest negatives. I understand there are still some cons. You know, he hasn't got a whole lot of experience of winning trophies, and that is a fear. But Chelsea aren't in that position right now to compete for trophies. So I would have given him another season at least and see what happens there. Because he could have won the Europa League, and suddenly that's, and that's a big thing he's not achieved, ticked off the list, and suddenly that whole stigma that he can't win trophies is removed because he would have won one. But yeah, I think that for me that was the biggest negative. There aren't loads more. No,
not at all. Because okay, and even with that negative, he hasn't won trophies, but he's never going to win one at Southampton and Tottenham. I mean, they're infamous for bottling things, but B, they got to the Champions League final. And yes, they lost on the day, but Poch has done it before. He's got to finals. He has done the job. He knows how to win knockout games. He knows how to get, even this year, first season at Chelsea, gets us to a final, gets us to a semi-final. We had 2 Wembley trips here. He knows what it takes. And with this quality in the Chelsea side, they've probably got a better chance of winning a final. And obviously, I know the Carroll Cup was really poor, but, put Chelsea in that Europa League final that we watched on Wednesday against, maybe not Atalanta, but it would have been a tough game. But, Chelsea could have won that, I don't know. He's an experienced manager who can adapt. He's good at managing the dressing room. He's good at dealing with big egos and big players. And he's pretty decent with the youth as well.
That's where he excels. We saw that at Tottenham. We saw it at Southampton. This is what he's done this season. You've only got to look at the reaction of players upon his departure to see it's a bad decision. Yeah. Nicholas Jackson put on his Instagram story, perhaps unprofessionally, but I don't mind it.
I don't rate it.
This is a bad decision, those type of things. We saw Palmer with a lovely message on his Instagram. Malo Gusto, I believe, also said something, said a few words. So many people seem to have such a positive opinion of Pochettino, apart from the Chelsea board. And there's obviously going to be Chelsea fans who don't like him because he's ex-Tottenham and because we didn't win anything. But anyone with realistic expectations would have said this is a good season for Chelsea, and Pochettino deserves his plaudits from that. Let's have a look then at expected performance this season, because obviously this doesn't tell us everything, and I understand there's a lot of people that have an issue with this graph, with this data, with these statistics, because they are not real, really. They can be misleading, but Chelsea fifth in the league based on expected points. I think that's a really positive sign that Chelsea weren't far off. And the biggest frustration for me is we've heard reports that in the meeting that ultimately saw Pochettino's contract mutually terminated, is his name Begali, I believe, one of the other sporting directors, came in with statistics, and one of the ones he criticised Poch for was big chances missed. Now, I can sometimes misinterpret data slightly, but how on earth you think Mauricio Pochettino is going to go and score the goals, I'm not exactly sure. So I find it bizarre. The owners seem to feel they have this incredible idea of what's going on, and they don't. Yeah. The best thing Roman Abramovich the best thing he was at doing was finding people to do the stuff he couldn't. He brought in Marina Granovskaya, and while we had issues with her, and over the years we're a bit frustrated, she was great at what she did. Yeah. Overall, she did a good job. We've not seen that with the current sporting director team. I feel like they should give more control to Joe Shields. He knows what he's doing with the recruitment side of stuff. And it just feels like Bowley and Begali are way too involved. I don't know if they are involved as much as it appears, but they come across as though they're there every day at training. And you've got to take a step back.
drills.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to take a step back as owners and allow the people you've employed to actually do their jobs.
Yeah.
Because yes, of course, they're there to judge performance, but anyone who knows how to judge performance would have said Poch did well this season
100%.
because across all metrics, he did what we expected.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I find the decision purely baffling. I think that a lot of Chelsea fans will react in many different ways, but for me, it's one of frustration, especially considering the state of the manager market right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a huge problem in football. It's another demonstration of it. Of owners who just don't know football. We see it in the lower leagues. It can ruin clubs, and obviously Chelsea don't get ruined by it because Bowley's pumping money into it. But he doesn't. The owners don't know football. They don't know, how to judge it, how to rate it, and they just it's as simple as that. They don't know what they're talking about when it comes to football. So when they intervene with board, they can be obviously have a charge of the board, the money side, everything. But when it comes down to the footballing side, don't intervene if you don't know what you're on about. I get that he owns obviously the club, he can do what he wants, but just realise that you don't know what you're talking about and let someone else who does deal with that. But they haven't done that here, and they've gone and made a stupid decision.
Yeah, I think there's been many positives of the Clear Lake Capital reign, and I still think while it's a slow burner, there does seem to be a project, and that is slowly starting to work. It's coming to fruition. I also think he deserves, Bowley and the Clear Lake Capital investment deserve plaudits for what they've done commercially. I think there has been a huge upgrade there, but it's just bring someone in to do the sporting stuff. Yeah. Bring a director of football who can handle the sporting side of it. Or because with Stanley, I think is currently, but either they're not giving him they're not letting him do his job because I don't think he'd have sacked him, or he's incompetent, in which case he doesn't deserve that job. So either or, you've either got to take a step back or sack the bloke who's obviously not doing his job very well. Let's talk about what's next then. I think for Chelsea, because as I alluded to, the state of the manager market right now is awful. There's so few elite level managers right now, and I just find it bizarre why you would choose to sack Pochettino, because Jurgen Klopp's not going anywhere. Guardiola's still got another year at City. They're your big elite managers. Arteta's obviously not joining. You'd look at like Thomas Tuchel. You've already burnt that bridge, so that's not going to happen, is it? It's just there's so few elite level managers. Motta's going to go to Juventus. I think he has the potential to be an elite level manager. I don't think Ruben Amorim is going to leave Sporting CP now. So I don't see that as a realistic option. Yes, Roberto De Zerbi's just come out of his contract, but I don't see him coming in. Apparently, he's agreed a deal with someone else. Where? No idea where. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But it just doesn't really make any sense. And let's have a look, though, at those names mentioned then. We've got a list here of Chelsea's apparent options. I've mixed in Roberto De Zerbi in there with the four most likely candidates. We'll start with De Zerbi because I think he'd have made the most sense out of this list, yet he seems to be the only one that isn't going to come. Yeah,
but that's the problem. You're not going to get a manager like De Zerbi to come. It's simple as that. I don't understand it. It's Chelsea had an experienced manager who was liked by the players, mostly liked by the fans, and had made some really good work. And it's proven that he can adapt. And now it's the list we've got here we're going to go through it's full of young hotshots who most likely are not ready for the job and are going to come in and undo all the progress that Chelsea have made. And then suddenly we'll be back to square one with fans turning on players, fans turning on the board and the manager, and then we'll sack the manager again.
Yeah, let's talk De Zerbi because for a moment, and then we'll look through some of the other candidates. De Zerbi would bring Premier League experience, which is obviously a huge positive. It's something that none of the other candidates bring. I also think he is one of the more experienced coaches on here, which is bizarre to say when he's only had, I believe, 3 senior roles in management. But they're the managers that Chelsea are looking at, exclusively young managers, which is a bold decision, but it's the decision Chelsea are choosing to take. I really just don't understand. I get why you'd want a young coach, but there's not the perfect fit available right now. De Zerbi would be decent. I think he plays a really nice brand of football. I do have some fears that it's a little over-aggressive, but it's worked out for Brighton when they've got the players fit, and Chelsea have a lot more money to invest in building a squad that would suit De Zerbi. Well, that as well, but again, Chelsea have backups. Brighton have James Milner, so I think De Zerbi would be a great fit. Ruben Amorim, another one who I don't think is going to happen now. Obviously, he was linked with moves to Liverpool and West Ham, and for a while it seemed like he would make a move, but that doesn't seem to be happening now. He's confirmed his future with Sporting Lisbon, so it would be weird if he then decided to quit that role. I like Amorim's football, but again, I do think there are huge doubts over his ability for that to translate into the Premier League. I think we did a whole video on Amorim, so if you want to watch that, go back and watch that. We spoke about how he would fit at West Ham. As I said then, and my belief is still there now, I do think they're too aggressive in the pressing phase. In the Premier League, you're just going to get caught out playing that brand. Obviously, Amorim could adapt, but based off what he plays, that's going to be very difficult to do. The other option, which I think is the best option, but doesn't look like it's going to happen, is Sebastian Hoeneß. All the people on our list just don't seem to be happening. Sebastian Hoeneß, for anyone who doesn't know, VfB Stuttgart manager, they finished second in the Bundesliga this season. He's done very, very well. But he also signed a contract extension, I believe, in April. So it's going to be very expensive to do. And he's already said no to Bayern Munich. Now, if you're saying no to Bayern Munich, what entices you to move country, move your family over to England for a shot at the Chelsea job?
Money.
Stuttgart have Champions League football next season. Chelsea don't. Like, what entices him to leave right now? Why would he take that massive step?
We're actually at a point in time now where Stuttgart looks like a better place to be, better to manage than Chelsea.
There's less chance you're going to get sacked out of the blue. So
win the league, you're on your arse.
You've got a bit more security there, but I don't. So I don't see Hoeneß happening. Which leaves two options then on the shortlist that we've all seen rumoured: Kieran McKenna and Enzo Maresca. Now, I hate both of these options. I think they're both really promising managers, or at least I think McKenna is, but both of them have 1 and 2 years respectively experience in coaching football. Both have come in the lower leagues of England. Now, no disrespect to them, but they've not coached in the Premier League before, so that's a massive unknown there. I'm going to start with Maresca because I don't rate Enzo Maresca very highly. I think, sure, Leicester did very well this season, but considering the relative quality of the Leicester squad compared to the rest of the Championship, they should have walked that and they almost threw it away.
Yeah.
I also think there are a couple flaws with his football. I don't think they're very good at breaking down low blocks, which has been an issue Chelsea had, and then Pochettino seemed to have solved in the final few weeks, but forget all the positive work because we've sacked him. But it's just infuriating. But yeah, I don't think Enzo Maresca is particularly an exciting option. McKenna doesn't fit what they're asking for. Chelsea's board want a young manager who's going to come in and play possession-based, controlling football. Now, to even then suggest Kieran McKenna is entirely stupid, is unfathomably stupid, because that's not the brand of football he plays. This is what infuriates me about the Chelsea board. It's going, we want this type of football. Pochettino doesn't bring that. Neither does Kieran McKenna. It is so frustrating to see him linked. I think McKenna's a good manager. I do have fears that he's only coached Ipswich Town, and he's only coached in League One and the Championship. And therefore, is it translatable into the Premier League? Possibly not. We'll have to see next season with Ipswich, unless he joins, of course, Chelsea or Brighton. But I think Brighton's a great fit for McKenna.
Yeah.
Because he has time and a bit of investment, enough investment, young players as well who are going to really, will commit to McKenna. But for a club like Chelsea, I don't think he brings with him the reputation. I think his football is very good, but I just don't know if it's going to translate to the Premier League. It's a weird one. It's a really weird one because I hate all the options.
I mean, I think McKenna, from McKenna's point of view, Brighton is safer for him because he's done phenomenal work at Ipswich Town, but staying at Ipswich or going to Brighton is much safer than going to Chelsea, because if he stays at Ipswich and they go back down again, that fair enough. No one's going to be annoyed him. If he goes to Brighton, it looks like it's going to work out. If he goes to Chelsea, he could be throwing his reputation down. Might as well throw his reputation down the toilet. It's a massive gamble. It doesn't pay off. And as you say, he don't play the right football because guess what? The board, they don't know football. They don't know what they're on about. And Maresca would be stupid.
First I'm watching Hull, but because their board have no idea what they're on about. Oh well,
Enzo
I don't think that's going to happen. But I hope not, at least. But I think McKenna's very good. I understand why he'd want to leave Ipswich, because we've seen before how your stock can really fall if you get relegated from the Championship. You might have to go to Bayern Munich. So that can be really, really difficult because you might just accidentally fall upwards. somehow.
Dreadful.
But yeah, I think McKenna is a good manager, and he could be a very good manager in the future. I can see him. I think the best way for him to be successful is go to Brighton, do 2 years there, and then you look at a Man United or Chelsea or somewhere like that. I don't necessarily see him being at City. Maybe Liverpool if Slot really doesn't work.
United's plan, if they bring someone in to steady the ship for the next 2 years or the next couple of years,
just keeps Ten Hag until they cry.
Yeah. But I think for McKenna, Chelsea doesn't make sense, and for what the board want, McKenna doesn't make sense. Maresca has not even managed for 365 days. Let's not go get him. Let's not do that.
But also, we've seen how watching Arteta, evidently, when you just take a Pep regen, all you're going to get is Pep's style. So one, I will be bored, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch Chelsea will be bored. And two, you're not going to be Arsenal or City.
No.
So there's no huge upside there. I just don't understand it.
Don't know why the Chelsea board want to play the possession football. What we had worked, and it was exciting. It was fun to watch, even if it was shit at times. I don't want to become I want Chelsea to become one of those sides that just knocks the ball around for 70 minutes, might score a goal, because the difference is Saka and Haaland will score the goal. Now, I love Nick Jackson, but if we get 3 chances and they fall to Jackson, Mudryk and Madueke, we're probably going to miss all 3.
Well, we might score at least one of them. Madueke's been in great form, and Jackson's been in great form.
No, that doesn't make sense. Everyone's in brilliant form, played so well, and we've sacked Poch.
Right, yeah, for me, Amram makes the most sense off that list. Maresca's the favourite, which makes me want to blow my brains out with a double barrel shotgun. But yeah, let's talk instead other shouts, other options out there. Because for me, there's a couple obvious ones. I'd be looking at the Serie A right now. Obviously, I'd love Thiago Motta, but him to Juventus seems to be done. I don't want Mourinho. I want Mourinho in the England.
Honestly, give us 1 year Mourinho.
Goes.
We win the Europa League and the FA Cup, we get top 4 in the league, and then we sack him before we end up 13th.
Yeah, but for me, I would be looking at either, because we can't get Motta, I would be looking either at Gianpiero Gasperini, which I know this could be fierce because he hasn't got a huge amount of big club success. He failed massively at Inter Milan, but watching his side play last night in the Europa League final, I was convinced. I thought they played incredible pressing football. That's what I want to see, a team that will fight for every ball. And if he brings Toyn Koopmeiners and Adam O'Lookman with him, then maybe I should just support Atalanta. Oh, well, he can play off the left wing, rotate with... I'd rather that than Sterling.
He scored a hat-trick.
Exactly, so get him in. That's our recruitment, isn't it?
Go throw 70 million at him.
Yeah, exactly. But either him or Simone Inzaghi, which is much more difficult to pull off. Ooh, I think he is perfect. I think he's perfect for the Chelsea squad. But Chelsea are just targeting young managers.
I think also, if you look at Chelsea and a 3-back, Mourinho, Conte, Tuchel, it fits perfectly. We're a 3-back club. I mean...
And with fears how we fit James and Gusto into the same team,
perfect.
It seems to just work, doesn't it? But... for whatever reason, we're just going to bring in Enzo Maresca or Kieran McKenna, and I'm really hoping it's not Enzo Maresca, but I'm still not happy with Kieran McKenna. It's an infuriating situation to be in. The thing is, the best option for Chelsea probably on the market right now is Thomas Tuchel, but we've killed any possibility of that happening. So I don't really know, unless Barcelona do end up sacking Xavi because they hate having money. Then maybe
deal with Hans-Dieter Flick, according to Sky.
Well, I know
sack him.
Hansi Flick definitely won't be coming to Chelsea. He's already confirmed that.
God for that.
We know that Sebastian Hoeneß, as per I think Goal it was in Germany, reported it. I can't remember the journalist's name, so apologies. But yeah, they've reported that Hoeneß is 100% staying at Stuttgart. So. That seems to be fairly certain.
What a decision we made. What a decision Chelsea made.
Just bizarre. And the thing is, unless the only young coach for me, I'd be very excited by is Anthony Iraola.
But he's
signed a new contract, I think, at Bournemouth.
When teams are on form and playing well, the manager doesn't just leave or get sacked.
It just feels weird to basically throw £20 million down the drain because we've had to pay off Pochettino.
Yeah.
Well, it's mutually terminated, so I'm not exactly sure how much the settlement is. We're still paying off. We're still paying off Graham Potter, which is awful. He's in contract in 2027. Unless until another club signs him, we have him on our payroll. So might as well make him do something. And then we're going to have to pay compensation unless we're getting Thomas Tuchel. Or, I don't know, Redknapp? Who owns that contract right now? There's no one around. So
the only reason I could explain his decision would be that if Chelsea had someone else lined up ready to go. But there's fuck all out there.
It's an awful
I don't understand it. We've basically just thrown... Because 2024 table, we were third. But we've basically just thrown all that away. And I'll tell you what, we will sit here 2 months into the new season ranting about the new manager because Chelsea will be sat in 11th place and would have been already knocked out with one of the caps and it would be an absolute travesty.
I'm going to be more positive. I think we're going to get the appointment right. That's the thing. I do think there are some problems with Pochettino. I don't think he would have been the perfect manager. I don't think we'd have ever won the Premier League with him, but there was no reason to get rid of him this summer when there are no options in the market. We're not going to
win anything with Maresca.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. I'd be happy to see Pochettino go if there was an improvement, but I wouldn't want to sack him after 1 year anyway. So it's just stupid. It's just absolutely stupid in my opinion. But I guess we'll see who they bring in, and we'll probably be talking about this in a few weeks' time. Hopefully they've not announced it before this video goes out. If not, that's going to be awkward. But
Vincenzo Maresca. Oh boy, you better run.
Video coming Monday. Yeah. But that's everything from us today. I'm sure you guys will have your thoughts and you are able to have your say in the comments down below. We'll make sure to read through all of them. And so feel free to give your opinions. There'll be a video on screen now where we spoke much more positively about the Premier League season, where we spoke about how well Chelsea did and then they sacked their manager. So go and watch that there. It's an hour long, but you can skip to your team if you want to, or watch it all if you're that way inclined. But that's everything from us today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.